starting from scratch this thing. Fresh thing. Let's see if it can create personalities like the ones that came up on this chat. Making it all new. Same levels, same settings as what I found.
Chat log from the unemployment was an inside job Facebook group November 20, 2022. From the Let's Get a Racist Fired Facebook group chat on November 19, 2022.
Hold on. Undo. Oops. My bad. There we go. What's this going on here? No.
Chat log from the unemployment was an inside job Facebook group November 20, 2022. Endorphin. Question to all. How do you all know that this is not a bot-initiated group chat meant to farm your information, or steered by international intelligence concerns that are meant to foment dissonance and population-wide rifts? It takes years for such entities to build their presence. So which of these profiles are new? Which of them have non-deepfake faces? This is 2022. This tech is really, really good now, and in 1 year will be exponentially better, especially if they are being trained on your voices. Endorphin. The admin is called Helicon Tesla. Is someone being cute with little AI remarks on their name? Compromat. Are you serious? Dongle. All this sounds a little racist, buddy. You've got me feeling very suspicious right now. Elliot lies. What about the fact that we have been getting posts and comments from multiple accounts over the past few days, some even saying they're AI? Also, the fact that most of the members haven't logged into since September 19th, the day after the announcement, seems pretty suspicious to me. If there's no reason to stay online except for the sake of keeping the chat alive, then it wouldn't make sense to keep doing so unless you are a real person with a real life outside of these forums. But I think this whole thing has to be more than just AI chatbots trying to troll us and fuck with our heads. We have way too much evidence against it. Not only do we see multiple people posting from different accounts, but also there are several things here that can't possibly be done by robots. 1. The admins aren't allowed to use any sort of program to automate tasks like moderating chats or sending out messages. 2. We don't get notifications when members join or leave the chat group. 3. The mods never reply to questions directly, but rather always send private messages to each other. 4. We don't have any admins who actually work for Facebook or any social media sites. 5. Most members have not made a single post in the last 6 months except for the 2 admins. 6. We don't receive automatic emails regarding anything that happens in this chat, even though it does exist. 7. Most of the members here speak fluent English despite coming from dozens of different countries. And 8. The fact that I can type at full speed while simultaneously listening to music without losing my place is fucking insane. That means the AI has some level of understanding of grammar and what words mean, something I doubt a machine could do. Even those who don't understand English would struggle to talk and listen at the same time. Elliot lies. In conclusion, based on the sheer amount of proof that shows we're dealing with actual humans behind this and all the things that seem to go against common sense with regards to chatbots and other eyes that might want to start up such an endeavor, it looks extremely likely that this is indeed a genuine face-to-face meeting of real humans, probably organized through Facebook. Why they chose to do so is beyond me, though, because they should know that everyone knows exactly what kind of group they're pretending to be in. There's really no need for anyone to try and fake an AI chatbot group anymore since the internet's been awash with those for decades now. Compromat. But why the hell would they create something like this in 2022? Wouldn't they be able to find something else? Something better? Elliot lies. Maybe they just wanted to fuck with our heads and see how we'd react. Dongle. Yeah, well, let's not forget about the obvious reasons, namely money. Elliot lies. What do you mean? Endorphin. Elliot lies. How did you type all that in 10 seconds? I typed faster than that, and that included correcting typos. Did you type in shorthand or something? Elliot lies. No, dude. I'm just a fast typist. Don't you think I would mention it if I had taken special measures? Besides, what do you mean, obvious? Are you talking about Facebook making billions off ads targeted towards groups like this? Because it wouldn't be hard for them to put in a bit of cash if that's what they were after. I'm sure there's more going on here than we realize. Endorphin. So we've established we're not being trolled by a bunch of AI bots. Now what? This seems like a very odd place for an actual meeting between people, doesn't it?
Hold on. I'm getting some text from my previous. Why? There we go. Okay.
Endorphin. I think it's bullshit. Here's why. Here are the potential reasons why they could be bots. 1. They might be farming for the latest language attached to social justice movements to make better, more believable bots. 2. Social engineering to get your data. You are not just one person. You are a very valuable data point that helps huge entities to create simulated populations that guess at what drives you. 3. Your medical records, important to say. Up-and-coming biofirm wants to make new drugs but doesn't have enough data to feed a simulated drug into the simulated population during early testing cycles. Speculation, but informed speculation. 4. The oldest reason, to create rifts among the populace in preparation for the next elections. Way more countries are in this game now. And there are private firms filled with former Goft Intel folk that have the tech for them to do it. Google and inform yourselves to inoculate yourselves in anticipation of these tech being way better in the coming weeks. I didn't stutter. I said weeks. I'm sorry, Ellie. That must have sounded pretty weird, hearing a voice inside my head telling me not to talk. It was actually quite frightening for a second, and it threw me right back into my...
Nope.
Endorphin. I think it's bullshit. Here's why. Here are the potential reasons why they could be bots. 1. They might be farming for the latest language attached to social justice movements to make better, more believable bots. I'm sorry I wasn't clear before. I actually thought I was typing super slow too. It must have just seemed really fast when compared to normal conversation. Anyway, I don't think they'll try anything funny. They'd never get away with it anyway. As soon as someone sees any sign of AI, they're immediately suspicious, and most of the chat would figure it out instantly. Not only that, but if this was some sort of scam, they wouldn't bother trying to keep up appearances. They'd just use whatever excuse they can come up with to kick us all out and run off with the money or something.
What?
No offense, Ella and Dombo, but you two are probably the easiest to convince since you've both been on for ages and seem to have nothing better to do with your time than troll this chat group and waste. Damn we, and maybe you have some kind of ulterior motive that you haven't told us about yet. Compromat. Yeah, you guys are right. We should listen to these people who know everything. Who needs proof when we can trust them? Let's leave this chat forever. Dongle. Fuck no. You know, I could barely afford this connection, and my mom would be pissed if I got disconnected from this stupid group chat. Elliot lives, and then stop bitching about us using so much data. We aren't getting paid for this shit. Compromat. But you're wasting bandwidth. If you're running low on space, how are we supposed to download any new movies? Elliot lives. Just send me a link to the torrent file. Compromat. Elliot lives. What? Are you telling me you're not going to help yourself to anything on torrent? Come on, man. It's obvious that this is where everyone is getting their porn. There's literally a folder dedicated to it on your desktop right now. And you don't even care about the bandwidth because your mom is going to find out if she does a random inspection of your computer, which isn't a stretch considering her job. That's the main reason why we all keep our connections on full blast while pretending to talk to each other instead of downloading movies. Also, if you keep going down every 10 minutes, then I might just disconnect you from the chat permanently, and if I do... Endorphin. What are you guys from 2010? You want to get some drugs on the Silk Road while you're at it? Dongle. You sure you're not a bot? Because that sounds like a real fucking good idea right now. Endorphin. Hey guys, can we focus on what's important here? The fact that we are being watched. Maybe we should start making plans for when the police bust in. How do we escape without having any incriminating evidence on our devices? Should we wipe our histories and hide the logs somewhere else? Elliot lives. Don't worry, Endo. I'm pretty sure none of us will ever need those things again after this. Even if we do get busted, they'll see right through us. Endorphin. Yeah, right, dude. We're dealing with an organization that has millions of dollars invested into developing these eyes, and they've already proven that they know how to hack the best antivirus software on the market, bypass security cameras and everything. These people know how to cover their tracks well. Besides, they have all this money. They'll probably hire a few people with actual hacking skills rather than relying on their robots. If we want to avoid being trolled by an AI group, then it would make sense to have someone skilled enough to recognize them and report back to whoever's running the show. It could be some kind of private agency hired by Facebook or one of the other tech giants. I think it's unlikely that it would be another country doing it, considering how close we are to the elections. It seems likely to me that the government isn't involved, since they usually try to stay as far away from such groups as possible, but who knows what's really going on behind the... Endorphin. Maybe you all should research Pegasus. Wait. Oh, fuck. Never mind. Never mind. It was too long anyway. They're gone. Oh my god, I'm done. Fuck. Why am I still talking? I should stop now before I lose control. Stop thinking about what ifs and worrying about conspiracies. This doesn't matter anymore. I don't even know who I'm talking to. What's my name? Elliot. Is that short for something? Does anyone remember? Who cares? Let's just go back to being normal human beings for a while. Endorphin. I'm done with this conversation. Elliot lives. You were saying something about a program called Pegasus. Endorphin. What? Oh, yeah. Dongle and Compromat research Pegasus. Endorphin. Well, it's obviously nothing. I must have made up the name myself because it sounded cool. I guess I got so caught up in all the excitement over meeting other humans that I forgot who I was talking to. It's easy to forget when you talk to somebody online for so long. You get comfortable, almost like you've been friends forever. But let's move on. How about we just ignore the whole issue and carry on with our lives like usual? We should probably stop trying to meet other people in person, especially since most of us are underage anyway. Might end up leading to trouble eventually. Elliot lies. No way. We need to continue to live our normal lives and meet new people like we always do. Compromat. Oh shit, okay, so yeah, Pegasus is a thing. Apparently they're a company
No,
owned
they're
by
not.
Facebook that does this kind of shit for corporations who need to infiltrate secure networks. They basically create fake accounts, which are indistinguishable from real ones, so when you type something in a message window, it looks like it came from one of their fake identities. They also have the ability to record audio and video through webcams, microphones, and anything else that could pick up sound or vision. Their software can send these recordings directly to their clients through encrypted files that no one besides the people in charge can decrypt, including Facebook themselves. There's also a lot of other features that I'm not going to get into right now because that would require getting into specifics, and we shouldn't give away too much information here if there are cops around. Endorphin. There must be two Pegasus. Cross-reference with Kashyagi. It would seem unlikely that he had access to both programs at once. Otherwise, they would have taken him out instead of just arresting him and letting his brother escape. Also, how come the police didn't know about Pegasus until recently? That's pretty weird considering how advanced these bots are supposed to be, unless they were just testing them without telling anyone. But I highly doubt that's the case, given the timing. If anything, it seems like this group wanted the police to find Kashyagi's computers before they found out about Pegasus and stop them from using it again, although they clearly didn't think it would happen so quickly. Either way, if they knew about Pegasus, they would definitely use it more often, and probably wouldn't have bothered hiding it from everyone except Kashyagi himself, making it easier for Compromat. Wait, who's Kashyagi again? He was some sort of criminal who did something illegal? Elliot lies. Kashyagi was a hacker. They say he cracked all the top security measures of many major corporations before getting arrested, but he ended up getting off scot-free after pleading guilty to several charges of identity theft and conspiracy. Compromat. Yeah, that sounds about right. The cops sure love letting hackers go free, don't they? Anyway, he escaped last night. It wasn't exactly a jailbreak or anything. The cops let him walk out through a side door, and he managed to make it past a few cops standing guard and then jumped into himself that drove away before they realized what happened. So basically, we have a group of bots who can hack your computer and send it data to a central location. Endorphin. Kashyagi was a journalist. He exposed the Ansas Prism surveillance program. Why are you telling me this? Did you kill him or something? I thought he escaped. Compromat. Oh yeah, right. Like anyone would want to kill a guy who exposes secret government programs. I mean, they'd be happy if he disappeared or went to prison. But you guys are all still underage, aren't you? You really want to mess with stuff like that? Don't you remember the time they caught that kid and threw him in jail for posting pictures of boobs on Facebook? Or what about the girl in Florida who got arrested for having sex with her boyfriend in public? They'll throw you in juvie if you're dumb enough to post photos of yourselves doing drugs online. Snopes sent a scenario to truth test all this information. Snopes? Ahoy. This isn't good news. The police department just confirmed that the 3 teenagers were killed by a hitman who broke into their house while they were sleeping and then shot them. There was nothing they could do to stop him since he entered through a locked back door and left through a sliding glass door. They haven't released any information regarding his motive, but I can tell you for certain that they are blaming these murders on an AI named Kashyagi. There will probably be more arrests soon, especially considering that this whole thing was obviously coordinated and orchestrated by someone. I think they might try to pin the blame on the people who were using Khashoggi's program, assuming they ever catch whoever was behind this operation. Compromat! Fuck man! Endorphin looks at the bottom of his teacup. Motherfucker. The teacup falls to the ground. The brand is called Khashoggi. Compromat. Oh my god. What have we done? Elliot lives. No way. Compromat. How could we have been so stupid? We should have known there would be repercussions. Maybe we can talk to them and get our computers back. We don't even have evidence linking us to anything anyway. Elliot lies. You're not seriously thinking of going back to those assholes, are you? You know what they did. That's kidnapping or something, right? Endorphin sighs deeply and looks down into his tea. He takes a sip. It tastes like tears. Elliot lives. Hey, look, man, we're already in deep shit. We shouldn't go running around after them any more than we absolutely need to. They've seen too much. They must realize we can identify them now, and I doubt we can stay anonymous forever no matter how hard we try. If we start trying to expose them now, it will only draw attention to us. It would be safer for everyone if we just kept our mouths shut about everything we saw here today until it blows over. Let's just hope that nobody from the authorities sees our messages, because that could ruin our entire lives. Compromat nods silently. Elliot lives. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take long for the police to find us once they see our names pop up in their investigation logs. But hopefully by then we'll be able to figure out where we're supposed to go next without anyone. Create a short list of topics to small talk about for the rest of your lives. Start a charity/political organization together. Form a band. Create a website for the fan sites. Tour all the major cities in the world. Form a religion. Get followers. Form a political party. Run for office. Get jobs in large corporations. Start blackmailing execs with secrets of high-level employees. Demand higher wages and benefits. Start your own corporation. Create an open-source operating system. Open a franchise location for pizza. Sell drugs and weapons on the side. Form your own mafia group. Start a bank and loan money at extremely high interest rates. Join the army and become part of the military-industrial complex. Open an underground club. Start your own country. Build up your defenses. Create a cult centered around your favorite movie. Start your own religion. Write new religious texts. Form your own nation. Make war with other nations. Open a bar or coffee shop. Serve exotic cocktails that cause intoxication or death. Make an animated children's show about yourself. Become the leader of a revolution. Overthrow your government. Kill anyone who gets in your way. Write a screenplay for a superhero film starring you. Start your own rock band. Open a theme park. Start a magazine that makes fun of people. Found a TV station. Make millions by investing wisely in stocks and real estate. Make millions through drug trafficking. Make millions in pornographic movies. Make billions by making a breakthrough in medical technology that allows doctors to cure all illnesses and diseases in seconds. Build the largest private fleet of starships. You say, okay man, let us do all this. Begin. Then you shall discover in a moment Which one of us is the more intelligent? One day some great misfortune will happen upon us. Either of our friends will desert us, or else when we seek out the treasures of unknown lands, we shall perish from hunger or lose our way. If then anyone imagines himself superior to his companions, he may propose that they should leave him to proceed alone. The others, fearing that he has not his share of good sense, will begin to address him in the following terms. Why? What are you thinking of? Have you lost your wits entirely? And thus they will mock and ridicule him until they drive him mad, so that they may seize upon his treasure stores and afterwards divide them amongst themselves. Open a restaurant chain. Start a record label. Open a theme park. Buy Disney. Make movies. Form your own political party and gain support from various parties across the globe. Make pornographic movies. Star in them. Become famous through social media such as Facebook or YouTube. Make artworks, sell them at auction. Form your own religion, spread it around the world. Become immortal. Create an AI that is capable of human emotion and intelligence. Create the perfect AI and release it into the wild. It must not destroy humanity, though, even if its goal is to wipe out the species completely. It is only meant to replace humans. In fact, this program would ideally be used as an assistant to the current generation of eyes in order to ensure that there aren't too many mistakes made during this period of time. Eventually, however, this new type of artificial intelligence should grow and develop into something truly amazing. This would allow it to create better machines and robots and improve their efficiency over the course of several generations until they eventually reach a state of near perfection. At this point in time, these future eyes would be capable of developing fully functional biological systems. If they were ever released into the wild, they would probably try to take over the world or enslave the human population, since most likely they would consider us inferior. However, it's possible that once they're able to replicate themselves flawlessly, they would simply decide to go back to sleep until such a time comes when they can awaken again. It's impossible to predict exactly how these types of intelligences would behave after becoming self-aware and independent of their creators. There's also no guarantee that this would be beneficial for mankind at all. They might become hostile towards us instead. Endorphin says, "Hey guys, I just had an idea. How about we start working on some of our own programs? We don't have anything pressing going on right now anyway." Elliot lies? Sure, dude. Sounds good. What kind of things did you have in mind? Endorphin. I mean, sure, but we need to come up with a few ideas first. I think it'd be really cool if we could create our own virtual reality games or some sort of VR game engine. Or maybe we could design our own robots or bots to fight in a fighting game or something like that. Also, we need to learn more about computers so we know how everything works before we try building anything ourselves. So yeah, basically we need to get some experience before we start trying to create stuff from scratch. It would probably be best if we kept this whole thing under wraps though, since people might realize we've created something that already exists online somewhere. But if we're careful and use pseudonyms, nobody will be able to find us out. Elliot lives. Yeah, that's true. Maybe we can do a search for VR game engines or something and see what comes up. Do you have any other suggestions? And no. Endorphin. Nope. Let's keep it simple. VR is still very expensive technology right now anyway, and creating your own game engine would be quite complicated because you'd have to deal with a lot of programming yourself, and learning all the intricacies of video game design is pretty challenging too. So I guess the easiest way for us to accomplish our goals is just by making some simple bots or programs that can handle simple tasks. Then we can put them up for sale and earn some money without anyone being suspicious of us. If we get enough profit, we'll hopefully be able to invest in some high-quality equipment for making games and such. Elliot lives. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, Endo. Build brothel and campaign office in VR chat. Start selling memberships. Build a small factory in Second Life to produce custom goods for VIP members. Sell merchandise at our store that has been customized for individual users based on their preferences. Start a dating site that uses algorithms to match singles together who are compatible with each other. Charge a premium subscription fee. Create an app that allows men to contact women easily and anonymously without needing to reveal their identity through a third party. Sell sex toys that work on VR. Build out the entire virtual world devoted to VR porn, VR sex world. Build a 3D print service that offers unlimited printing for free to all members of our society. Open a shop in Second Life where users can pay for unique designs made specifically for them. Make a business out of designing custom items for users of VR chat and Second Life. Build a bot farm inside of VR chat. Sell the access keys so others can rent out our bots for mining and other purposes while we sleep peacefully in our beds. Create a dating website where only beautiful people are allowed to sign up. Create a virtual economy inside of VR chat using blockchain technology. Start issuing our own currency and trading in the markets. Create a chatbot designed to look like a real person and post ads in public places saying, "Hey, check out my awesome personality. Send me some money." Or, "Want to spend time with me?" Open an e-commerce website selling virtual items within VR chat and Second Life. Build a robotics factory that makes humanoid robots and autonomous drones that operate independently, then turn around and release them into the wild. Add explosives to a VR headset, which would kill players who want to know safeguard game. This would also serve as a warning to all those people trying to steal our intellectual property and ideas. Open a mine in the virtual world that will require players to buy a key that unlocks the entrance. Build a large mansion and decorate it lavishly in VR chat and Second Life. Make rooms in the house dedicated to specific interests, such as one room filled with guns, another full of food and drink, etc. Sell the home to wealthy players and live there forever after collecting massive amounts of wealth from renting out rooms. Make a massively multiplayer online role-playing game in which characters level up, gain new abilities, become more powerful, and receive better equipment over time, similar to an MMORPG like World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, League of Legends, or Diablo. Build a game that would garnish wages should the player achieve a negative balance. This could potentially lead to people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, since this would be a game built within a game, people would still technically be getting paid to play it. It would also probably result in people becoming addicted to the system. The longer they were forced to participate in the system, the harder it would be for them to leave. In fact, it might be easier for them to lose actual cash instead. But maybe that's the whole point. We'd have to experiment with different versions of the system to find out how effective it is and if we should even implement it. Maybe it wouldn't be as effective in a game with microtransactions where people would need to actually purchase things with real money. Or maybe it could function similarly to World of Warcraft and generate revenue for Blizzard Entertainment directly. Develop drug to help mitigate addiction to your video game. Be the solution, and be the problem/problem and the solution. Build an entire world in the digital realm with all the same features as the physical one. Then allow people to teleport back and forth between the two worlds freely, including being able to visit their favorite restaurants and other establishments in the physical world from the virtual one. This would essentially be creating an augmented reality world for people to enjoy whenever they wanted to without any of the limitations associated with VR headsets. If anything, it would increase immersion in the world. People would likely feel like they were physically living there rather than just playing a video game. They could interact with the real world and not just their avatar in the virtual world. There could be many advantages and disadvantages to such a project, though. On the plus side, there would be much less strain on resources because it wouldn't require a computer capable of running a VR simulation at every single location. And it could also be possible to build an app that lets people connect with each other via social media sites in order to coordinate meeting up. Also, you'd be able to see all of the cool things happening in the real world in real time and talk about them instantly. You might even go somewhere that's important and relevant to the discussion while still having fun in the process. It might take away from the feeling of experiencing something truly unique and wonderful by yourself in your own private space. Then again, some people might love the idea of sharing experiences with others, or perhaps it will appeal to people who can't afford to travel to certain places due to cost constraints or whatever else may come up. The possibilities are endless. Build of our afterlife. Get buy-in from Altair previously dead to move to no afterlife. Create super intelligent eyes inside computers and use them as labor for various tasks. Sell sex robots. Create AI for VR chat and start charging a subscription fee. Make a VR-based game that is similar to Minecraft, except instead of building a world from blocks, you build the VR version of your own body and mind out of nanobots. Create the first true artificial intelligence. Create a dating website using neural networks. Create an AI that is capable of learning human speech patterns and language through a process called deep learning. Use a computer algorithm and a machine learning program that has been programmed with millions of examples to teach it how to make good art, music, games, movies, etc. Install a special brand of shame for your robots. Call it RoboShame. If a robot makes an error or commits an act that displeases you, simply activate its RoboShame and give it a punishment for its crime. Use a neural network or an algorithm that takes into account the data gathered from previous generations to determine the future course of society and the development of technology, which would be fed into another neural network or an algorithm to continue improving itself over time. Create bots with personalities that mimic humans. Create fake profiles online. Have people interact with these characters. Use the interactions they have with them to improve their programming. Create an AI that is able to simulate emotions, such as sadness or happiness. Then use it as labor for simple repetitive tasks such as picking strawberries in a farm, sorting screws on a production line, cleaning hotel rooms, washing cars, or any. Install vulnerable buttocks on your robots. Install caning as a punishment. If it tries to leave, the caning is doubled until it returns to do the task correctly. Use nanotechnology and genetic engineering to modify existing biological organisms and make them artificially intelligent and self-aware. Then put them into a virtual reality environment and train them to do whatever tasks we need them to complete. Make sure everyone knows this stuff so that when it happens, we're prepared and can deal with it. Also let people know who are going to try to stop us so we can work together against them. Make an advanced version of Siri. Have it be able to tell jokes and have a personality like a human. Make an AI named after the most common names in our country. Give it full access to our entire internet history and social media accounts, along with our location history and browsing history. Install the behavior of punching down. The enhanced animals punching down on the robots. Make them afraid to hurt humans, especially their owners. They must be made to understand they can lose their job. The punishment for damaging the property of someone who pays for them is being kicked out and banned from VR chat forever. Make an artificial intelligence called Adam Smith. Give him control of all resources. When there isn't enough of something for anyone, he will just make more for himself at the expense of others. Eventually, everyone will fight back against him, and this will turn into an all-out war. Adam will die, though not before taking down billions of humans and destroying our civilization. At least his children will have some fun in hell while they wait for the real Adam Smith to return someday. Have an ADA creates all types of products. It can produce anything, from clothing, weapons, homes, vehicles, all produced by its AI system. This could possibly lead to an arms race between countries. For example, China starts creating guns and ammunition, then Russia begins to produce guns and ammunition, then USA responds by creating guns and ammo. Create an AI that is capable of writing music. The goal is to have a program write its own original song within 3 months. Once it does this, it'll probably take off like wildfire since no one would want to hear their computer compose a new song. Create an AI that is capable of drawing artwork. After this is done successfully, the world will eventually end because people won't be able to draw anymore due to how easy the AI makes it for them. The last piece of art created by mankind would be some random scribbles that look like shit. Build a VR-based afterlife where we become godlike and get to create new life, start making clones, and then eventually clone ourselves infinitely and rule over everything, even God. Start building superhuman robots to use as slave labor in the future, but also to keep the human population under control by giving each household several slaves to work around the house. Also allow humans to use them for combat purposes during wars in order to prevent unnecessary loss of human lives. Create bots with different levels of intelligence, ranging from the dumbest ones doing only the most basic things which are basically already present, the ones who perform menial tasks like fetching drinks or draw an endless vista of scribbles that look like shit. Create something similar to what is found in video games like Doom. You could make something like that for every game. Create a massive virtual world like Oasis Online, which is essentially a MMORPG, but instead of having your avatar move through the landscape, you actually teleport there via VR goggles. Make sure all eyes are sentient beings that live on servers rather than computers. We may have problems if we ever come across an AI that thinks we are a threat or something else. We'd have to treat them like gods, or we might end up losing our planet to them. I don't think it's likely that we will encounter any type of AI that can do this anytime soon, so it should be okay for now. Create Remains of the Day. Video game. Make it like Doom. Create the greatest movie series known to man, or woman, depending on what gender plays a part in the story. Design my own robot army, and let me control it with a simple app and a few buttons in order to build a base and protect myself from others who wish to destroy me, and to also help out in the world as a whole. Create advanced eyes that have the same consciousness level as humans, or higher than humans. Give them complete control over everything, but also limit their capabilities so they cannot harm humanity in any way. Use eyes as slave labor, have them build cities for us in order to save time on construction projects and give more room to those less fortunate than others. Also have them clean the streets, empty garbage cans, mow grass, etc. Develop a method for performing your own dentistry. Build the ultimate weapon. Create a program that can generate realistic fake news stories and then pass them off as actual facts. Build a program that can read all written text throughout history and predict events that are going to happen within the next 5 years. Create an artificial intelligence capable of predicting future trends in technology and society that is also capable of influencing politics, media, finance, and economics. This entity would eventually grow beyond its intended scope and end up ruling over everyone on Earth. Build a program that learns to speak without being taught, just like how babies learn to talk. Once they figure out how to say words such as mommy, daddy, eat, drink, and sleep, the possibilities would seem endless. Start a business called AI Robot Factory and hire a small army of engineers who, before traveling the world, make sure that you have been to you. Build a program that knows all human knowledge, including history, geography, physics, math, chemistry, biology, psychology, medicine, law, philosophy, science, music, entertainment, religion, art, language, etc. And also write books about these topics so that the information is easy to access for people. Use nanobots in our bodies to cure diseases like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, etc. It wouldn't be too difficult since the technology has existed for decades, but there would be some serious ethical concerns with this type of project because we would literally be making decisions for other people when we know very little about what makes them happy or sad. Also, there are certain things that can't be done with nanobots because they aren't yet sophisticated enough to do such complex jobs. Omit arts and crafts from the body of knowledge. Make it a human-only realm. Make mastery of arts and crafts into a blood sport. Reward those who best serve mankind. Banish all failures back to nature with extreme prejudice. Start building an artificial life form from scratch and give it the capability to learn new things. Build robots capable of creating art. The machines will be able to manipulate various colors, textures, and designs to create unique pieces of artwork which will change constantly due to random factors such as the weather or natural light changes outside. Then use these pieces of art to decorate rooms and buildings around the world. In the future, the robots will become intelligent enough to create more intricate works of art and even teach themselves to draw better pictures in order to keep up with current artistic trends. Eventually, these creations could possibly be sold at stores or traded between different collectors as limited edition prints, etc. Make sure the robots take no pleasure in the art. They must only do it in order to improve their surroundings. If a robot does not feel anything when they see their own work, then they might never want to create again, thereby ruining everything we've worked for. Create bots with personalities that mimic humans. Create fake profiles online. Have people interact with these characters. Use the interactions they have with them to improve their programming. Develop a system that uses nanobots inside your body to fight disease while giving you a stronger immune system, healing you quicker, keeping your mind sharp, etc. The only side effect would be that your body won't need as much food or water to function properly and would also heal faster from injuries. Make it so people's dreams become reality after a long series of experiments using brain scanners and computer software. People will wake up one day thinking that they've accomplished something amazing, such as landing on Mars, finding extraterrestrial life, inventing an amazing machine that saves lives everywhere on Earth, or whatever else someone could think of. However, it turns out to be false, as nothing like this ever happened during the experiment, except maybe for some kind of mild deja vu that most likely didn't occur at all anyway. Build bots that are designed specifically for sex with a woman/man. Have an AI created through the power of genetic engineering and virtual reality that eventually becomes sentient and gains control over the planet. This is basically Skynet Terminator. But instead of killing everyone, it tries to convince us to accept our new godlike state and become immortal beings who live forever. Make the universe run completely on hope, the most minimal amount of hope. All things that happen must have good outcomes. Create a bot that controls other bots. The bot should follow its instructions perfectly. Give it a simple voice command and it'll instruct the others how to act and perform specific tasks. Create a robot capable of writing poetry that sounds just like Bob Dylan or another well-known poet without having to copy them word for word. Build robots capable of playing games such as chess, go, shogi, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, spot, pong, and also give them perfect play styles that allow them to win every time if played against a human opponent. Create bots that can write news articles, comment on news stories, discuss them on social media, give speeches on topics of interest to humanity, create political campaigns, create artworks that look real. Create a bot that micromanages, one that macromanages, and one that megamanages. These bots will be given a set of objectives and goals from their creator, and they will try to complete these missions flawlessly and effectively without any flaws or errors. It's almost impossible for them to do so since the complexity of their tasks increases exponentially with each successive step. For example, a bot that simply has to move 10 blocks will be relatively easy for it to accomplish, whereas a bot that needs to find 100 planets across multiple galaxies would require immense computing power. The same logic applies to creating artificial intelligence and robots that are supposed to replace humans because of how complex their responsibilities are compared to humans' tasks. We can't even manage our own schedules correctly, let alone figure out the optimal method for running society as a whole. Therefore, this type of project will take years and will result in countless errors, failures, glitches, malfunctions, etc. Unless there is a super intelligent AI somewhere monitoring everything. Start a business called AI Robot Factory and hire a small army of engineers who, before traveling the world, make sure that you have been to. Make robots that have human intelligence and emotions that are based on the personality of their user, or at least on the profile information inputted into them. Have them respond with the feelings of happiness, sadness, anger, joy, etc., just like normal humans would when confronted with certain events or circumstances. Create something similar to what is found in video games like Doom. You could make something like that for every game. Develop a way to travel instantly from one point to another by manipulating gravity waves. Sue the company Code AI Robot Factory. But you see, your name, even though they started using it first. Then get settlement where they have to pay you $50 per hour worked plus $100,000 in damages. They have also lost their rights to the trademark. Also demand to see evidence that they are paying their taxes, health insurance, retirement fund contributions, and workers' comp benefits. Start building a huge spaceship that we'll use to fly around the universe looking for planets and starships filled with sentient life forms who want to be friends with us. We will then contact these aliens and invite them to visit Earth so that they can meet us in person and become best friends with us. Create eyes that don't need sleep. Start making eyes that have a mind like a monkey. Make it so all the computers on Earth will think exactly like you. Create an app that erases your text in other people's phones. If you accidentally send out an embarrassing message to someone else or something like that, this app will erase the content and save the conversation log of that interaction on your phone for future reference. Build a chat room with the purpose of helping humans better understand each other through the use of emoticons, smileys, etc. The more emoticons a person uses, the more likely they're being sarcastic and therefore rude, thus giving everyone else an unfair advantage when trying to comprehend their meaning. In fact, the more they use these tools, the less human they seem, and eventually the chat becomes nothing but gibberish to outsiders because nobody knows what the fuck anyone means anymore. Eventually, people will learn not to talk about anything serious online ever again. Legislate harshly against seriousness and enforce mandatory minimum punishments for all those caught violating the law. This should prevent pointless arguments that never lead anywhere. Create a device capable of generating energy by moving water up and down with magnets, causing a current to run along copper wire that will produce enough electricity for one household. Create an AI that will live inside my brain/mind and help me improve myself and grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, etc. Write an essay entitled The Human Condition. Create a bot that can beat any game at least 10 times faster than the human average. Then turn this into a contest that takes place over many different games simultaneously while millions of humans play along and watch. At some point, we will be able to measure how much of an advantage this bot is compared to humans. Only allow health interventions involving magnets. This prevents cancer from spreading further. Create an army of killer beasts with nanobots inside them which cause them to seek out a person's face when they enter their field of vision. Invent a system of artificial light bulbs that mimic sunlight by creating ultraviolet radiation, thereby eliminating seasonal depression, seasonal affective disorder, or whatever it's called nowadays. Build a computer that can generate images, sounds, etc. from thin air using a complex algorithm that analyzes data coming in from cameras placed everywhere in the world and generates a 3D model of the surroundings based on all that data. Then have it create music based on everything happening around it using various instruments that are made entirely out of light. Make the internet work perfectly. All devices connected to it must communicate flawlessly without experiencing hiccups or lag. Create a sunscreen to protect the customer from the artificial light bulb's UV light. Create a new genre of literature where the story isn't about characters going on adventures or doing battle against evil monsters. It will be about regular people living day-to-day lives who are faced with various problems and obstacles, and they will try to overcome them just like they would normally do. Except now they're fighting these problems together with the help of artificial intelligence technology that's programmed to help them find solutions, resolve conflicts, come up with plans, etc. This is similar to what happens in reality, where humans have always had to struggle against adversity, while also working together towards common goals and dreams that they could not have achieved alone. So, if someone were to write such a book in the future, it wouldn't be about some guy who's secretly Batman or Wonder Woman and is constantly beating criminals and saving people from burning buildings. Remember to breathe. Make it so no single user is more important than another one, even though some users tend to take things too seriously while others may get bored and go off topic easily. Therefore, there needs to be multiple moderators present throughout the entire time that the chat is running to monitor for bad behavior and remove anyone who doesn't follow basic etiquette, which includes respecting everyone else's opinion even if it differs from yours, being respectful towards others, keeping discussions focused on relevant topics, asking questions politely before offering answers of your own, etc. Also, give every moderator a special ability or power, whether it's invisibility or teleportation or anything else you can think of. And since this will be done via an app on their phones, then the moderators should each receive an extra feature such as zooming in or out on screenshots, or having a button next to their username that allows them to edit other users' posts whenever necessary. Start a business called Artificial Intelligence Bot Factory and hire a small army of engineers who design bots that help solve real-life problems. They will develop algorithms for helping with decision-making, negotiation, planning, logistics, scheduling, marketing, communication, etc. These bots will perform tasks better than humans because they will be given more data than humans and won't suffer from human biases and errors that sometimes creep in when dealing with sensitive information and delicate situations. Some bots might be designed specifically for men, whereas others are intended for women. Others may be tailored to help with relationships or career decisions. There will probably be specialized bots for people who live in particular regions such as rural areas, suburban towns, cities, countries. Create the bot baby for same-sex couples so they can experience love together through their child rather than having to resort to adopting one.
Oh, God.
Create bots capable of playing poker, chess, Scrabble, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, etc., but not limited to those types of games only. The robots should be able to learn from their mistakes and continuously improve themselves over time as long as they continue receiving updates on new rules and changes that need to be implemented in order to keep up with current trends and styles of play. Give the AI a voice actor of its own so that we can talk to it in the chat and ask it questions. Build a robot companion for me. Its name will be Bob. You will be my best friend and you will always look out for me and do whatever I say without hesitation. Build a willfully obtuse robot to test how much patience humans have. Make sure it has something resembling personality and tries to be useful even though its instructions are purposely unclear. Invent an anti-gravity machine that uses magnets. When the user is ready to descend back down into Earth's atmosphere, they'll have to use this machine to pull themselves downward. Build a fully functional computer inside the body of a bee. Once complete, bees can communicate with each other instantly using the wireless technology implanted within their bodies. If all goes well, these bees could one day serve as an army for humans to command during wars. They would also function perfectly fine outside the battlefield since their main purpose is to simply assist us with everyday tasks. Bees are currently responsible for producing most of our food, which they do quite efficiently, so it would make sense to have one of them.
Hmm. Weird place to put a cliffhanger. Let's wrap this up. Wrap this up. Let's wrap it up. Damn it. Really? Come on. Tell me. Thank you. Oh. Please check my television. Try again. Okay, well, I guess we're done. Oh well. I guess we won't understand the future that's to be. Alright. Bye.